On this episode of O'Fallon Matters, see what crews are doing to improve your commute, catch up with an award-winning volunteer who's making a difference in the community, and get an update on the Forest Park Subdivision Water Main Project. All this and more next on O'Fallon Matters. Welcome to O'Fallon Matters. Kids are learning lifelong safety lessons while having a blast. Let's head over to Progress South Elementary School to see how O'Fallon's Safety Town is making a difference in our kids' lives.
For over 80 years, safety towns across America have been teaching young children important lessons about safety and teaching them to feel comfortable around first responders too. Here in O'Fallon, the Safety Town put on by the O'Fallon Police Department is a yearly tradition, one that our officers look forward to just as much as the kids who attend. Each day is dedicated to a different topic, and children also learn catchy songs and rhymes that will help them remember vital safety information.
Safety Town is a program for 4.5 to 6.5-year-olds, and it's designed to teach the kids about crossing the street correctly. We focus a lot on strangers and body awareness, safe body awareness, pet safety, numerous topics that we cover, even as far as these guys getting ready to ride bicycles. We want them to learn to ride bicycles on the right side of the road, stop at the stop signs, wear helmets. So those are the main focuses that we're in. The things that can hurt the kids the most is the issues that we like to attack.
Safety Town works on the principle that kids learn best by doing, and they get to do a lot at Safety Town. While we were filming, they got to see a demonstration of O'Fallon's canine officers and got up close and personal with Canine Odin. A big part of Safety Town is learning the rules of the road, which comes at a critical time as children are beginning to ride their bicycles. On a simulated town layout, our officers and teenage counselors help children learn about traffic safety, stop signs, and crossing the road. And the kids get to burn off some steam pedaling around as well. Another highlight was a trip to the fire station, where O'Fallon's Fire Protection Department gave the Safety Town kids a tour of the station, a look at the equipment firefighters use, and let them have fun under the powerful spray of the fire truck.
Today we're here with the kids from Safety Town. We're showing them the station, the trucks, and a little safety talk. And right now they're playing in the water.
Another day's theme involved O'Fallon's 911 operators, as Safety Town kids learned how to dial 911.
911, what is your emergency? There's a fire.
They got to practice with real phones and get comfortable talking to real 911 operators. Lessons like these pay huge dividends. Just a short while ago, 5-year-old Axel Humans in Brookings, South Dakota, saved his mother's life with skills he learned at his own Safety Town. That's one of the most important lessons of our Safety Town. They can rely on our first responders for help whenever they need it. O'Fallon's Police Department offers this nationally accredited summer program every year, and it's one of the few programs your children can attend that are exclusively designed to teach safety. If you'd like your child to attend, keep an eye on the O'Fallon Police Department's website or social media pages in the spring.
We have a blast here at Safety Town. The kids learn a lot of really great safety topics. And if you want your kid to come on out and check out Safety Town, please come join us. It is an amazing experience that you can't find in a lot of other places. So the kids love it, we love it, and we just really, really enjoy having the kids here.
An outstanding O'Fallon volunteer recently received the Lieutenant Governor's Senior Service Award, and you won't believe how many hours this volunteer gave to the community. Joe Meyer is here with that story.
Volunteers have an enormous impact on the spirit and overall well-being of our community. If you stop and think about it for a moment, I'll bet you know an O'Fallon resident who has given their expertise for the betterment of the community. They offer up their unique skills and their personal time to support city departments. Each volunteer has one trait in common: their commitment to the city of O'Fallon and its staff. and one volunteer personifies this commitment. Larry Jacobs began volunteering for the city of O'Fallon in 2016, and since then he has completed more than 450 hours of service for the city, doing many different tasks, including administrative duties, special projects, and assisting at events. In addition to the numerous hours he has served O'Fallon, Jacobs has also volunteered for the American Red Cross, Central County Fire and Rescue, and other organizations throughout the community.
Volunteering is very important, and it's an essential part of every organization. Having worked as both paid staff and volunteer staff, I know the relationship that must be there, and it's nice to be on the other side now, being a volunteer and being able to help where needed.
What he currently does in our office is he is a database assistant, and what he does there is he goes through all the active and inactive files. We have thousands that have accumulated over the years. Service fee and the storage fee that we pay for our database has been reduced 40% because of Larry's efforts. So we could not be more excited. He is a very big, valuable asset to our department and to the city.
This May, Larry was awarded the Lieutenant Governor's Senior Service Award at a ceremony in the Missouri State Capitol. Lieutenant Governor Mike Keogh presented the prestigious award to Jacobs and 60 other recipients, honoring seniors from across Missouri who have positively impacted their communities through service and volunteering.
Kathy and her staff did a great job, and they submitted it in, and fortunately I was one of the recipients.
We could not think of a more deserving individual than Larry, because he not only gives to the city of O'Fallon, but he extends himself out to the community at large. And so since this was a statewide recognition, we thought that he fit that criteria perfectly, and the Lieutenant Governor thought so too, and so he was presented with that award.
It's dedicated volunteers like Larry Jacobs who make O'Fallon a great place to live, and the city of O'Fallon truly appreciates Larry's gift of time.
There's always a need, and there are a lot of people who are looking for something to do, and I encourage them. The training, if any, is taught at the time of the event, and it's something that you can feel good about doing your part to help in the community. And O'Fallon has such a variety of action items going on that it's great to be able to be a part of it. So I encourage anyone, it's not a long-term commitment. You pick and choose your own time frame, and you just let Kathy's staff know what time you're available, and they're very good about notifying you and reminding you of where you're supposed to be.
If you want to make a difference that lasts a lifetime, you can call Volunteer O'Fallon at 636-379-5417 or volunteer at ofallon.mo.us.
When an emergency arises, our police, firefighters, and ambulance crews need to be ready to act. With the help of their annual mass casualty incident training, they're prepared to step into any situation. OFallonTV's Brett Figgis is here to take us to the scene of this year's session.
St. Charles County Full Nursing, number 1 Academy Place.
914 responding.
9606 responding.
9214 responding.
The scene? A school gymnasium. The call? An active shooter has opened fire, injuring dozens of victims. With people needing help, emergency personnel will need to work together to effectively secure the site and triage the victims. First responders pray they'll never need to respond to a situation like this. And while today is just a training exercise, the skills learned during this exercise can save lives in the future.
Well, the scenario is that there's an active shooter, there's multiple victims. The initial contact team of law enforcement, police, apprehended the bad guy. We're not sure that there might be more than one bad guy. So because of that, we have to form up into what we call a rescue task force. And that consists of law enforcement and rescue personnel working together. Law enforcement provides security in an environment that we're not 100% sure is safe, but we know we have victims, and we're not gonna wait.
This is called a mass casualty incident, and special skills are needed to appropriately handle the challenges an incident like this can cause for our emergency personnel. That's why the St. Charles County Ambulance District, Fire Protection District, and police forces from throughout St. Charles County come together each year to practice these nightmare scenarios. Previous mass casualty incident training events included a variety of bus crashes involving different types of vehicles and incidents. Last year's training involved an aerosol chemical spray spreading across a field full of people. Each of these requires a different approach and new skills. And this year's training, featuring the aftermath of an active shooter, required even more cooperation between all the responding agencies. During the scenario, police needed to keep EMS staff safe as they dealt with injuries. Trainers made the scenario as real as possible, with simulated victims crying for help, all while fake smoke filled the air and disorienting emergency alarms blared. A mass casualty incident response plan is only as effective as its weakest link, so it's critical to practice these skills together before they're needed.
We wanted to be comfortable working together. It's pretty novel, pretty new that we have police, fire, and EMS all working together hand in hand, side by side. So we really want them to get that takeaway is that that's the appropriate way to handle these types of scenarios and then to get comfortable doing it.
Anytime you have an active shooter, an active assailant environment, there's some very specific things that we need to practice in order to be most efficient. What I'm hoping for is the muscle memory of knowing that if something like this happens, God forbid, and the first responders, the first people on the scene will know to form up in these rescue task forces with security, with armed law enforcement, and make entry and try to do some good for the injured patients.
It's impossible to predict the future, but the lessons learned during this mass casualty incident training will save lives. Whether it's an active shooter like today's scenario, or a massive car crash or natural disaster, our emergency crews will be ready to step in and get the job done.
The training environment is the place to practice so that if we have this type of incident, we want to handle it as efficiently and as well as we possibly can. It's going to be a terrible situation no matter what it is. We just want to be able to mitigate it, take care of patients, and get them transported to the hospital as efficiently as we can.
Now that summer is in full swing, let's check in with our engineering team to see what our crews are doing to make navigating our city streets that much more pleasant.
You may be surprised by the fact that the city of O'Fallon has 50 or more projects in the planning, design, and construction phases. Each project includes building, improving, and maintaining the city's infrastructure. And this year, O'Fallon is continuing a multi-year effort to renew the city's aging infrastructure and bring it up to date with an unprecedented level of investment. On this month's O'Fallon Matters, we had a chance to catch up with City of O'Fallon Assistant Engineer Jeff Paskowitz to find out what major projects are taking place throughout this summer.
We've got quite a few projects ahead of us that are currently under construction or getting ready to start. Some of those kind of starting down the southern end of our city. We've got our Summers Road and Highway DD improvements. This project will signalize that intersection, which will greatly help improve the efficiency of that intersection and reduce the delays in the morning, people getting their children to school and buses through that area. Also down that same stretch, just on a little bit further north of there on Summers Road, we've got a project to extend Paul Renaud Boulevard across the southern end of the Liberty campus. This will basically now complete, once this is done later this summer, that project will create a continuous path all the way from Dyer Road over to Summers. So this will be our final portion of the Paul Renaud Boulevard extension. Our goal is on both of those projects to have those completed and ready to go once schools are back in session in August. And then on our western boundary, we've got our Hoff Road improvement project, which is getting ready to get started here probably within the next month. This project consists of improving Hoff Road from just north of the railroad tracks, which are just immediately north of West Terra, and extending over to Progress West Lane. What this project will involve is a widening of the road and also a kind of enlarging the curve near Progress West. We've had quite a few issues with truck traffic out there. The road's a little bit narrow, corner's really tight, so we're going to try to improve all those conditions and increase the safety of that stretch of roadway. This is a separate project from the overall I-70 project that ties into it. This will be a connector that goes from Veterans Memorial Place over to the new South Outer Road near the Slumberland Furniture Store. This will be just immediately east of Slumberland and this will provide a connection from the outer road, enabling people to get to Veterans Memorial Place, then to Sonder, in which they can go north and south from there. The goal with that being to alleviate some of the traffic through the Highway K interchange. So I think this will provide another crucial north-south connector way through the city. Mexico Road Phase 2, which involves the resurfacing of Mexico Road from Barrington Drive west to Highway K. This project also includes reconstruction of the sidewalk, which is along the south side of the roadway. We will be enlarging that to a 10-foot wide concrete path. Also included with that will be pedestrian crossing improvements at the intersection of Mexico and Highway K. This is going to be a pavement reconstruction on Bryan Road between Great Warrior Drive going south to Feisey. This will involve reconstruction of some of the deteriorated concrete panels in that area. In addition to that, we've got some areas along that stretch of roadway that currently have some storm drainage issues. We will reconstruct the pavement in those areas such that we can get the water to drain more efficiently off the pavement, such that we'll have less standing water on the pavement during heavier rain events.
Don't forget that you can follow the progress on all major projects by going to OFallon.mo.us. And remember to watch O'Fallon Matters for the latest updates on road projects taking place in O'Fallon throughout the year.
Next on O'Fallon Matters, learn what you can do to keep our waterways clear by following a few simple tips. Let's find out more.
Creeks are vital life sources for our natural environment, including wildlife and our groundwater resources. Locally, our creeks feed the Mississippi River, which means that anything that leaves our city via the creeks has the potential to do harm further down the river and eventually the ocean. The more polluted these natural water sources become, the more we increase water pollution overall. That's why it's important to care about stormwater runoff and what ends up in our creeks and storm drains.
We need to keep the streams clean in O'Fallon outside of regulatory requirements with state and federal is for water quality purposes, to protect the aquatic life that lives in the creeks, the fish, the frogs, the minnows, the birds and the animals that use it as a drinking source. Also, we like to adventure into the creek, and the more polluted it is, the more health hazards we had if we enter into it for wading or swimming or fishing.
Here are some suggestions on what you can do to keep our waterways as clean as possible.
We worry about lawn clippings, leaves. A lot of people think that that is okay to put down to protect the bank, but actually it smothers the vegetation underneath that's trying to come through. And that vegetation can't grow, therefore the creek bank fails more. So we try to educate the homeowners about putting landscape materials and using your yardway services or trying to compost them to keep them out of the waterways.
It's also important to discard paints, oils, and other chemicals properly.
Water-based paints can be left in cans to dry out. Leave the lid off the can, let it dry. You can discard that in your trash. If you do have oil-based, though, we recommend you take them to St. Charles County Hazardous Waste Recycling. Household chemicals are not good to be washed down as well. Same thing, we recommend you take those to St. Charles County Hazardous, unless they're okay to be poured down a sink and rinsed, and the container can be recycled. With regards to oil, obviously most oil change places or auto parts stores will take recycled oil for a small charge. You can take things there. Same thing with your tires. Please don't discard your tires in the creeks.
Think twice before you discard anything into waterways. Water from the rivers is used for drinking, and the more polluted the waterways become, the more expensive it is to clean, meaning your water bill may increase.
If you have any questions regarding stormwater or what you think needs to be done in your backyard, if you have a creek or a stream that runs through and you have concerns, please feel free to call our department. You can email us, you can go through Citizens First. If you have questions about things that are being deposited by a neighbor and you have questions and you think it's a concern, you can call our department as well. We're happy to come out and talk to you and educate the residents as well as educate the person that has the concern. Just call City Hall at 636-240-2000, or you can call my direct extension, which is 636-379-7632.
There's still a lot of work left to do, but our crews are making great progress on the Forest Park Subdivision Water Main Replacement Project. We caught up with Crew Supervisor Colin Murdoch for an update on how the project is going.
What does a $100 million investment in our city's infrastructure look like? For residents in the Forest Park subdivision, it looks like this. We began a multi-year commitment to renewing our aging infrastructure throughout the city. And one of our highest priority projects was fixing the recurring water main breaks in this neighborhood.
So over in Forest Park, we have a water line replacement program that we've started up. There's a lot of main breaks. If you live in the area, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes we have to shut the water off, sometimes we don't. There's boil advisories. So there's a lot of negatives to what's going on over in Forest Park. So what we're doing over there is we're going through and we're replacing all the water lines, and that's to give a reliability of service to the customer.
After studying the issue and meeting with residents, our crew settled on a course of action and got to work. With 5 miles of water main needing replacement, we broke Forest Park into 5 sections, and we'll be replacing one a year through 2023. This hopefully minimizes the impact on the residents of the neighborhood while fixing these aging mains in a timely fashion.
Right now we are at the corner of St. Joseph and St. Matthew. We're just getting ready to turn the corner and head south on St. Matthew. We have all the service lines done up to that point, and we have our restoration contractor coming in behind us, and he's starting to do driveways and street crossings and get some grass seed down.
Have questions about the Forest Park water main replacement project or any of the other infrastructure projects throughout the city? Head online to www.OFallon.mo.us/projects for maps, status updates, and more. During this project, it may be necessary to shut off residential water access for brief periods of time. Staff will notify residents of these shutoffs via door hangers, message boards, social media, and more. And keep an eye out for our work crews throughout this project. While 5 years might seem like a long time, just remember, they're working tirelessly to ensure our infrastructure is kept up to the standard our community deserves.
It is a slow process. We want to make sure the customers have good drinking water and have a reliable system. We're making sure everything's done right the first time and trying to get out of your hair as quickly as possible.
Thanks for joining us today. If you have a good story idea, let us know. You can email us at OFallonTV@OFallon.mo.us. We'll close out this month's show with highlights from the first O'Day concert in the park featuring Butch Wax and the Hollywoods. Enjoy!